Please like the video and share it so that it reaches many more people and you get sawaba, or rewards from Allah. This could be a sawabe jariyah or continuous reward for you long after you are gone.
Volume 9, Book 93, number 542. Narrated by Anas. The Prophet said, "Some people who will be scorched by hell, fire, as a punishment for sins they have committed, and then Allah will admit them into paradise by the grant of His mercy. These people will be called Al-Jahannamilan, the people of hell." Volume 9, Book 93, number 543. Narrated by Abdullah. A Jewish rabbi came to Allah's apostle and said, "O Muhammad, Allah will put the heavens on one finger and the earth on one finger, and the trees and the rivers on one finger, and the rest of the creation on one finger, and then will say, pointing out with his hand, 'I am the king.'" On that Allah's apostle smiled and said, "No just estimate have they made of Allah such as due to him." 39.67. Volume 9, Book 93, number 544. Narrated by Ibn Abbas. Once I stayed overnight at the house of my aunt, Maimuna, while the Prophet was with her, to see how was the night prayer of Allah's apostle. Allah's apostle talked to his wife for a while and then slept. When it was the last third of the night, or part of it, the Prophet got up and looked towards the sky and recited the verse, "Verily, in the creation of the heavens and the earth, there are indeed signs for the men of understanding." 3.190. Then he got up and performed the ablution, brushed his teeth and offered 11 rakat. Then Bilal pronounced the adhan, whereupon the Prophet offered a 2 rakt sunnah prayer and went out to lead the people in Fajr, morning compulsory congregational prayer. Volume 9, Book 93, number 545. Narrated by Abu Hurairah. Allah's apostle said, "When Allah created the creations, He wrote with Him on His throne, 'My mercy has preceded my anger.'" Volume 9, Book 93, number 546. Narrated by Abdullah bin Mas'ud. Allah's apostle, the true and truly inspired, narrated to us, "The creation of every one of you starts with the process of collecting the material for his body within 40 days and 40 nights in the womb of his mother. Then he becomes a clot of thick blood for a similar period, 40 days, and then he becomes like a piece of flesh for a similar period. Then an angel is sent to him, by Allah, and the angel is allowed, ordered, to write 4 things: his livelihood, his date of death, his deeds, and whether he will be a wretched one or a blessed one, in the hereafter, and then the soul is breathed into him. So one of you may do good deeds characteristic of the people of paradise, so much that there is nothing except a cubit between him and paradise, but then what has been written for him decides his behavior and he starts doing evil deeds characteristic of the people of hell, fire, and, ultimately, enters hell, fire, and one of you may do evil deeds characteristic of the people of hell, fire, so much so that there is nothing except a cubit between him and hell, fire. Then what has been written for him decides his behavior and he starts doing good deeds characteristic of the people of paradise and ultimately enters paradise. See Hadith number 430, Volume 4. Volume 9, Book 93, number 547. Narrated by Ibn Abbas. The Prophet said, "O Gabriel, what prevents you from visiting us more often than you do?" Then this verse was revealed, "And we angels descend not but by command of your Lord. To him belongs what is before us and what is behind us." 19.64. So this was the answer to Muhammad. Volume 9, Book 93, number 548. Narrated by Abdullah. While I was walking with Allah's apostle in one of the fields of Medina and he was walking leaning on a stick, he passed a group of Jews. Some of them said to the others, "Ask him, the Prophet, about the Spirit." Others said, "Do not ask him." But they asked him and he stood leaning on the stick and I was standing behind him and I thought that he was being divinely inspired. Then he said, "They ask you concerning the Spirit, say, the Spirit, its knowledge is with my Lord. And of knowledge you, O men, have been given only a little." 17.85. On that some of the Jews said to the others, "Didn't we tell you not to ask?" Volume 9, Book 93, number 549. Narrated by Abu Hurairah. Allah's apostle said, "Allah guarantees to the person who carries out jihad for his cause and nothing compelled him to go out but the jihad in his cause, and belief in his words, that he will either admit him into paradise or return him with his reward or the booty he has earned to his residence from where he went out." See Hadith number 555. Volume 9, Book 93, number 550. Narrated by Abu Musa. A man came to the Prophet and said, "A man fights for pride and haughtiness, another fights for bravery, and another fights for showing off. Which of these cases is in Allah's cause?" The Prophet said, "The one who fights that Allah's word, Islam, should be superior, fights in Allah's cause." See Hadith number 65, Volume 4. Volume 9, Book 93, number 551. Narrated by Al-Mughira bin Shu'bah. I heard the Prophet saying, "Some people from my followers will continue to be victorious over others till Allah's order, the hour, is established." See Hadith number 414. Volume 9, Book 93, number 552. Narrated by Muawiyah. I heard the Prophet saying, "A group of my followers will keep on following Allah's laws strictly and they will not be harmed by those who will disbelieve them or stand against them till Allah's order, the hour, will come while they will be in that state." Volume 9, Book 93, number 553. Narrated by Ibn Abbas. The Prophet stood before Musaylama, the liar, who was sitting with his companions then, and said to him, "If you ask me for this piece of palm leaf stalk, even then I would not give it to you. You cannot avoid what Allah has ordained for you, and if you turn away from Islam, Allah will surely ruin you." Volume 9, Book 93, number 554. Narrated by Ibn Mas'ud. While I was walking in company with the Prophet in one of the fields of Medina, the Prophet was reclining on a palm leaf stalk which he carried with him. We passed by a group of Jews. Some of them said to the others, "Ask him about the Spirit." The others said, "Do not ask him, lest he would say something that you hate." Some of them said, "We will ask him." So a man from among them stood up and said, "O Abul Qasim, what is the Spirit?" The Prophet kept quiet and I knew that he was being divinely inspired. Then he said, They ask you concerning the Spirit, say, the Spirit, its knowledge is with my Lord. And of knowledge you, mankind, have been given only a little. 17.85. Volume 9, Book 93, number 555. Narrated by Abu Hurairah. Allah's apostle said, Allah guarantees, the person who carries out jihad in his cause and nothing compelled him to go out but jihad in his cause and the belief in his word, that he will either admit him into paradise, martyrdom, or return him with reward or booty he has earned to his residence from where he went out.